Mars and Rahu together, they form interesting but also intense combination in the chart. Should we be concerned about this if we don't have these two planets together? Can they be formed in any other way? When this combination is giving the pulmonary disease and when it's giving the accidents or other types of effect, which other planets are afflicted as a side effect of this yoga being in the chart, and also what is the difference when that planets are strong or weak, and also the main philosophical and psychological outcomes of this yoga in our chart. As usual, we'll end on positive note with providing the remedy. Because if we don't understand the mechanics behind this yoga, we will not be able to navigate it so swiftly in our life. And in my practice of jyotisha, learning, the teaching, and also the consulting, I've encountered many people with Mars-Rahu, either in the house or drishti or parivartana, and this always giving one of those at least 3 results we'll be speaking about. And in this video, I will show you how those little bit differences when it comes to house or strength can bring different results and what we can do about it when it comes to the advices and also the remedy. Let's roll the intro and see those 3 examples. Okay, so let's first define the yoga. One of the benefits of Vedic astrology is that we have those categories of yoga. They have names, they have a special outcome given in the Shastra, in the Vedic text. So if we open our charts, we have the planets, signs, and houses, but those planets also are forming relationships, and they are giving the specific dedicated effects to its nature. So let's talk about the yoga. After putting the details in the Devaguru website, we got the chart with our planets. They are in the signs, they are in the houses, and they form relationships. Those relationships are called yoga, and they have different category, the names, the outcome, which are all laid down by the Shastras. But we have to remember that the Navamsha is a special filter through which we can strengthen or cancel the initial prediction which we got in the Rashi chart. So the main types of yoga is when 2 planets are in the same house or sign, when they are having the aspect, for example, being in 7 houses from each other. And there also we can some little bit more advanced form of yogas. And the planets transfer their meaning through the lordship and the nature of the planet. And the same things happen for the yoga. So we will have lordship yogas like 9th lord with the 10th lord, which is giving the Dharma Karmadipati yoga, which is making one work in the international format, one of the manifestation. And we have also Karaka-based yogas, like Moon with Jupiter, or Mars with Venus, or Saturn with Ketu and Venus. So there are different types of planetary and lordship formations. Now, to answer the question if the Karaka yoga is enough to see the outcome of things, it's like we are going for some travel and we say, oh, I'm going to 32 latitude. But it could be Berlin, it could be Warsaw, it could be Amsterdam. So also you need to have another data, the longitude, to know what exactly city you are going to. So similarly, the connection based on the nature of planets is not enough. We have to make it more accurate with analyzing the lordship as the second step. And then, of course, we are going to Varga to get even more details. Behind everything you experience in life, happy, sad, frustration, anger, some blockages, there is always some yoga behind it. So it's very important to understand what is causing the challenge. Some of the yogas are mentioned in the text, but they will be mentioned in the literal sense. You need to have some parampara, some tradition to understand the logic behind them, because then you know which elements of this yoga will manifest in specific to your chart circumstances. And then you can also apply the more nuanced remedy. So we know that Mars with Ketu is a Pisacha yoga, Mars with Saturn is the Yama yoga, Mars with the Jupiter and the Moon can bring a lot of wealth, but with the Moon also can bring a high blood pressure. With the Venus, it's a Bahustri yoga, which can give many relationships. So also the Gandanta combination. So what exactly is happening when we have Mars with the Rahu? The answer definitely explores in that direction of the Tattva, the Mars is the fire and the Rahu is the air. So we know that for fire to burn, it needs the oxygen, and if it's taken away, then the fire is also extinguished. Therefore, we can say in this context, the Rahu controlled the Mars and can bring it totally blocked. So on the health level, it can bring three types of concerns. It could be asthma, it could be pneumonia, it could be anything related to accidents. But on that more, we could say general level, it can mean that one is stuck, the stambana is happening, the frozen things related to the lordship of the Mars. So if you feel that you cannot go farther, if things are not changing for years and you are in the same place, then you may see that the Kuja Stambana is causing it, and then we have to apply the specific remedy, especially if you are in the dasha of these planets. So at the end, we will have the generic template remedy, but if you can tailor it and made it suitable for your chart, then it can be even more powerful. We know that the Yuti, which is the conjunction, and Drishti, which is the aspect, they will definitely create the yoga. But I have brought here the special example of Gerald Depardieu. Probably I butchered his name, but here we can observe that after the Jupiter, Mars and the Venus are following, right? Similarly, they are before the Venus. So for that Jupiter and for that Venus, the effects of Mars and Rahu is brought into fore. And for the accidents, we need to have some ninth house open, vulnerable, afflicted, or in the problematic situation. So in this chart, we can see how the Malika Yoga plans following or before are indicating that. And this is also very good chart to show how the Parivartana works, that ninth lord from the moon, because he had right leg amputated after many unsuccessful surgeries. So ninth lord from the moon is Mars, and it should have something to do with Mars and Ketu, because according to Jataka Parijata, this combination is bringing the amputation or any removal of the things in your body. And here we see it's in Sagittarius. So what a pity. We don't have this connection, but unless we take the Parivartana into consideration, Sagittarius and Scorpio are changing their signs, and suddenly we have Mars in the Scorpio. So Mars and Ketu sign. The yoga is there. Therefore, it brought this incident into the fore. And we can see also that after 12th Lord in the Navamsha, after the moon, which is 12th Lord, we also have Mars and Rahu. So after that Jupiter, before Venus, 9th house of fortune, and after 12th Lord in Navamsa, the Mars and Rahu follows. And therefore, unfortunately, after 37, because of that Mars and Rahu, Malika Yoga in the Rashi and in the Navamsha, the demise after 37 years of age due to viral pneumonia. He got this infected also in the hospital. So then if you have this combination of Mars and Ketu, you need to be careful, because if the Ketu is somewhat afflicted or badly placed, it can also indicate mistakes, especially if the nodes are in the 1-7 axis or are somehow influencing the 12 in the Rashi chart or in the chart of disease. And then you need to choose a best time for your surgery using the special dasha in the Navamsha to avoid any complications from surgery. Okay, we talked about the Mars and Rahu and opposite planet Jupiter, but what is the place of Jupiter when we have this Mars and Rahu yoga? Planets are in the different camps. Somehow they are opposing each other. So we have those benefic, malefic, we have division based on the Varna, day and night, and many divisions. Probably the most vital to understand their philosophy would be the Sura and the Asura. For example, we have Mercury and Venus, which love to have long descriptive answers, but Mars is very to the point. So these two will irritate each other, not because one is right, the other is wrong, but because they have different personalities. They see the world and they act in the world in totally different way. What gets afflicted when this yoga is in the chart? One answer would be whatever is afflicted, aspected or joined. But that is already the circumstantial answer. But what if we want to understand the inner mechanism? Then we have to go to this relationship between the planets. So what would be the one planet who is having problem with Mars and Rahu? Mars is eclipsing one planet, and the Rahu is also on the opposite axis to this one planet. What it could be? It would be definitely the Jupiter. Rahu may show the research, but all those elements have to be collected, and there must be some meta-conclusion of all of these elements. And this is brought by the unifying ethereal factor of Jupiter. Rahu and Mars, both aspects 5th and 9th, so they are bringing something from the past and putting it in the future, but what they bring is totally different. Jupiter is bringing those blessings and Rahu is bringing those curses from the past life. So we have Jupiter. We could also look at that from other perspective. The Rahu is machines, Mars is that engineering, so they are exploiting all the resources from the Earth. They can be a little bit anti-Earth. So Moon and Mercury may also have some issues with them. Similarly, the Mars causes depletion of the Moon. Rahu is at the extreme, so if that is together, especially if somehow related to our psychological nature, then it may also brought some kind of imbalance there. The first type of approach for this problematic would be the node yoga. We have Mars and Rahu, which is affecting the Saturn. So this can also manifest in many ways. The most obvious would be that the muscles will be hit by this combination with the Snehadatu, or the muscles are indicated by the Saturn. So in all those situations when we are lacking this inner peace, the trust, and this broader perspective, there will be some issues with our Jupiter in the chart. So see where is your Jupiter, and then we can apply various remedies. For example, if Jupiter is in Kendra, we can give jams. If it's in Trikona, the mantras. Jupiter is with Rahu, we can use the yantras, and many results we can give based on this position, the sign. You can use also the form of the Devata, like in the 7th house may show the Shiva who is sitting down and so on. So you can use so many things to improve the choice of that specific remedy for your chart. So after defining the relationship between Rahu and Jupiter, let's think about what it brings to our mind. The Rahu and Ketu are so popular topics because they are showing those extremes of working in our mind. So our subtle body has this manas, ahamkara, and buddhi, which is the mind, intelligence, and the false ego. So the moon is the mind, Jupiter will be the intelligence, the buddhi, and the Rahu will be the ahamkara, or the false ego. Understanding this, we can get another additional insights how various things are happening. For example, we could be able to answer why we get so many eurekas or the revelations in that time when we are relaxing or we are just getting some rest. This may be because of Shanti of Jupiter or Sattva of Jupiter, but also we can see how the Jupiter is exalted in the natural sign of Cancer, which responds to the 4th house. And therefore, those unifying process of various pieces of information we got through research or through reading is getting unified in the dream while sleeping, right? Therefore, 4th house is the sleep. Trikona also to the 12th house, or the 4th house is the night. And then we also are getting the rest, the comfort in the 4th house. Therefore, Jupiter loves this house because in that state, which some call it the passive focus, this is when we got most of our ideas, when we are taking shower, when we are going for a walk, in that relaxing state, when those things are getting synthesized for the bigger story or picture, the aha moment. But with the Rahu, it's totally different. It's being in the stock hole. There is a lot of risk. There could be big wins, but also for decades there could be nothing. So therefore, those researchers, this very hard job could be quite ungrateful because many decades of research may bring nothing, similarly to some detectives which are catching the killers for days, months, years, or whole life, sometimes without any result. We have to see how this Rahu and Jupiter are placed in the chart. For example, do they have this directional strength? Because this will add to this intelligence. And if not, if that guiding part is weak, there are special, for example, mantras which could make that whole situation much better. Also, the assimilation of the knowledge may come in many different ways. For example, if you have the Jupiter in the fiery Navamsha, it is through examples and visuals. Just a reminder, if you have this yoga in the chart or you suspect it's formed in this or different way and you would like to get the predictions related to health, relationship, or the career, then you can find the link in the description. Now let's talk about a little bit more dangerous part of this yoga. As whenever we have this 9th and Jupiter week and we have malefics also waiting to exploit that loophole. We can see that the Karaka of the 9th house is Jupiter. The Jupiter is also Karaka for 2nd, 9th, 5th, and 11th. From 9th house also we are having the Navamsha chart. Therefore, all this shelter, protection, inner self, it's all are coming from the 9th house. If we have this Rahu and Mars, how to know if we can be the victim of that exploitation? How to see that special part of the chart. So we need to pay attention that the ninth house is strong, that the shield we have, this Jupiter element, is there. If not, we need to do everything to make it strong, especially through gems or through other form of the Kavacha mantras. Because if that situation occurs, that the ninth house is weak, let's say ninth lords in 8, and then you have malefics are related to the ninth, or sometimes even if your Kendra lords are weak, then boundaries to your life are also, the doors are also open, and many unwelcome elements may misuse this situation. So then it becomes very necessary to close that doors and to learn how we can create or form those boundaries so nothing bad will happen. There's also a situation when you don't have those benefits related to ninth or the Kendra, and then you need to use something else. Normally we say that there is no devata to protect you. Then we need to find the special one based on your panchanga, and you need to immediately recite those mantras to regain that protection. Now let's talk about the houses which are connected by the core to this yoga. Again, someone could say, yeah, this will be the lorded by Mars and Rahu, right? But this is for the circumstantial things. They will also be very important because they will show, in fact, what is impacted by diet yoga. That's true. But if we want to understand this on the level of first the philosophy, what is going on, then we need to find the common houses which will have those Rahu and Mars meaning. So Rahu exalts in Gemini and debilitates in Sagittarius. This is reverse for Ketu, and Mars is having the Karaka in the 3rd and 6th. And Mars is also lording the natural 1st and 8th. So the houses which are repeating will be the 3rd, because it is the house where Mars is Karaka and the Rahu is exalted in Gemini, which is natural 3rd house. Then we have the 6th. Mars is again Karaka, and this is Mula Trikona for Rahu. And then we have 8, Scorpio lorded by Mars. And this is here the Rahu debilitation for health, mother's sign. So 3rd, 6th, and 8. Therefore, it can give those a 3rd indication that we cannot move forward. It can give the 6th of accidents and 8 of the disease, especially we were talking here about this pulmonary disease here. So now if your 3rd house is additionally weak, it can give also the melancholia because of that frozen state. The 6th house can also, when weak, bring the situation for enmity, the accidents, and 8 is about the health concerns. So if it's even weak, then we need to really then look for those benefits which will improve the situation. And luckily, the Rashi is not enough. We need to recheck it in the Navamsha. So there is a special method. We have 2 pairs and we do it twice, once in the Rashi and second in the Navamsha. My students are taught these 2 steps on the course. And then even we can take those plants into the Vargas, and using the special dasha, we can find which 3 or 5 years will be a problem. And then in this 5-year span, we can find 1 or 2 years. So, because, if you have a Rahu and Mars yoga, this can be an accident, which will be 1 year, or this will repeat in 10 years. It will not be for the whole life. So then also, if you have this yoga in the chart, we can check in which span this will be really active. So before going to the remedy, let's now see how the situation differs if that planet is weak or strong. Here we'll see this 2 examples. One, Mars in Cancer in 7. In the other example, Mars is in Scorpio in the 7th house. So very strong and very weak examples. Is it better to have this strong, or is it better to have this Mars weak? Of course, that will also depend on the lordship of the malefic in Kendra. For example, if malefic are lording the Kendra, it's better when they are stronger in the Kendra. If that's not the case, then it's better if they are weaker. And here, let's see how this manifested for these 2 people. Because one person was investigating the government conspiracies, especially the war crimes, and the second one had to flee its own country as ex-president of Ecuador to Belgium to fight an exile. So totally different situation. The same or hair chart, we have 10th Lord Rahu and 10th from Moon connected to the Rahu and Mars yoga. So we can see that this will manifest on the career life field. Mars is, however, quite strong. So the research will be helpful for him. Lagna Lord is in the 12th, so he will use those foreign resources. He got the Pulitzer Prize in 1917 for his My Lai investigation, the war crimes in Vietnam in 1969. This was a very big case, which was published in the many newspapers. And this 1st and 7th is the true axis. So he's bringing that things to the true. 2 malefics in the 7th house is a war, so it's all about the war. And also we have this Mars in own sign, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn Parivartana, it's about the killing yoga. And the Jupiter benefic in the Badaka is also the yoga for exposing the truth. Now in Raphael's Korea's chart, he had 3 tours of presidency, but the last one, the 3rd, was in the Rahu. And there was seemingly corruption and other things he was sentenced for. The whole 3rd tour started in Rahu. So we know that this has to do with this yoga. But he, we could say, moved to Belgium, country of his wife. With an educator, we can see Jupiter and Venus and Mercury connected. Jupiter and Mercury is giving that teacher or finance, depending on the position. Here we can see Upapada, Jupiter and Mercury, and in the Navamsha, Jupiter and Mercury having the Graha Drishti. So definitely this is the correct Navamsha, accurately showing the spouse. And we can see how Jupiter protected him the whole time, because that Rahu and Mars are having that Jupiter aspect. And 12 from the moon, which is also confirming that the 7th house is open for the marriage indications. Jupiter is 12th lord of going abroad. So it's like fleeing. And Jupiter is Upapada and 7th lord in Navamsha. So this is about wife's country, you could say. And this is Europe, because among continents, Jupiter is showing Europe. So definitely you can see if you have similar problem and Jupiter is aspecting it, or any benefic is having positive intervention, then you have to use all of this meaning of that benefic to protect yourself from the problem, because otherwise the 8 years of jail is waiting for him in Ecuador as an in absentia legal conclusion for his case. So finally, ending on the positive note, what is the remedy? Would that be any form of Mars or any form of Rahu? What we could do here? Maybe the Jupiter. So we have one special Mars-related remedy, and this is Shri Nrsimha. Depending on your chart, you can use the form, you can choose the number of syllables, things like that. The closer you are to your specific situation, the more effective it will be. For example, if Mars is in the 7th house, you can use the sitting form, DT Shri Nrsimha. You can use also the Lakshmi Nrsimha form if the Venus is somewhat connected and things like that. And then you can reduce the potential big mess in your life into the small, tiny discomfort. So let me know in the comments if you have this yoga and how it manifested for you and what you are doing to avert the negatives. Thank you for being here with me on this channel. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, subscribe for more like this. And if you like to learn about more yogas like Tapashvi, then please consider watching this one.